I thought it'd be fun to share with you what is inside my travel drawing bag. Whether it's, I know I'm going to be doing some drawing, or I just throw it in the bag with me in case I get an opportunity to create a little bit while I'm on the move. I have not gone through this. This is just, I literally just grabbed it off of my desk. So there might be some things that are in here that don't necessarily fit. Let's just take a real raw look at what's inside. So like we said, I've got a business card in here. I often will have a piece of gum or a like a piece of chocolate in here. You can see I have a tape measure right now. I've been doing more knitting. I knit more in the winter. And so I have these placeholders in here that I took off of the sweater that have been working on. So that's in there. I used to put my kneaded eraser in there, but I don't anymore. It's just kind of just anything that I want to keep separate, whether it's something that I'm using more frequently or just something that might get other things dirty or just become a mess. Okay, let's dive in to what we have. Okay, first up, this isn't necessarily something that I would take. It's just a pink pen. So this is more in my bag if I find that I'm not necessarily creating, but I'm doing a lot of writing. So if I'm going to like a class, then I'm more likely to keep something like that in. I like these pens, they're fine. They're not my favorite, but they're fine. Okay, and of course this will come as no surprise, my very favorite drawing pencil. This is the Faber-Castell TK4600. I will have it linked below. This is my favorite drawing pencil. I love that no matter what length your lead is, you have a nice sized pencil with a good weight to it. This one has a sharpener in the cap, which I super duper love. Which makes it fantastic for traveling. I like that it has this little, whatever these things are called. I like that that's there so I can stick it on my pad of paper if I'm like just getting up for a moment or just trying to keep track of it. But I love these. I've owned a couple of them and they're just my go-to. This is my go-to pencil. I absolutely adore it. Inside is probably HB lead. Let's see if I can see. Yep, HB lead. Occasionally I will have B as well. Okay, next up, let's take care of these. I normally have a collection of Micron pens. This is a little excessive even for me. Normal for me would be having 2 of the 01 size. That's my favorite size. It's kind of my go-to. And just in case I run out of ink in one of them, I have the other one. So that's why I like to have 2 in general. And it's not unusual for me to have the 005 or the 005, which is a 0.2 millimeter line. It's smaller than the 01. And so I do like to have that on hand in case I want to do some really fine details or I'm working smaller while I'm traveling. But that I would say is a bonus. Kind of the default is 2 of the 01 size. And I'm actually going to put these away because I don't need more than that. Okay, next, let's go here. So I have a kneaded eraser, which if you've been watching my channel for any amount of time, you know that I love my kneaded eraser. It tends to be, for a long time, this was the only eraser that I would take with me. Now I'm a little heavier handed than I used to be, and so I find that I do still need a white eraser, but especially if you're going to be painting something, being able to pick up any excess lead with this is just so nice, and being able to kind of mold it into these specific shapes. Like if I want to get something that's really small, it's so handy. It's such a good all-around eraser, especially if you are more light-handed or you're using a softer lead. This will pick up all of that excess. Now I use a harder lead and I'm a little heavier handed than I used to be. So I wouldn't say it's like the only eraser you'll ever need anymore like I used to, but it's a wonderful eraser. Along with that, I have this white eraser. I like the Pentel. I don't think that there's really any specific reason. I've used a couple of different brands, but this is one that I've used. I used to use this for my math class, so it just kind of became a tough, get rid of all of the junk eraser that I kind of just became a go-to for me. So that is always, one of these is always in my kit, and it will start as a nice clean square and it will eventually get down to where it's only this size, and then I toss it and get a new one. a more recent ad for me along the eraser line. So this is a Mono Zero eraser pencil by Tombow. This is a very thin, oh, you can see I'm going to need a refill soon. A very thin eraser that, similar to how the kneaded eraser, I could kind of get into those small areas by manipulating it and really kind of making that tiny surface area. This has the power of the white eraser in this small, tiny chunk. So this has kind of become a more recent ride or die. Like I love this, especially if I'm working on detail things or we're doing stuff more like traditional art with like full shading instead of like more modern shading styles. I love this. So this has been really nice. I was surprised how much I like it, but I do really love this one as well. All right. I have a white colored pencil in here. It's a Prismacolor Very Thin, which is a very hard pencil. It's more hard for colored pencils instead of like the Prismacolors, which the Prismacolor, which is more oil-based, they're a little bit softer. This one's really hard, but I love this if I'm doing more of the tonal pieces and I'm trying to bring those highlights up. This has been really great for me. So I bet this a year ago, I was doing a couple of tonal pieces. And so I bet this has been in here for a year and just hasn't been used. You can see it's really dirty from lead or like the kneaded eraser getting stuck to it. So I will probably take this out for now, just because I'm not using it. But it's definitely one that if I'm not sure what kind of drawing I'm going to be using or doing or what kind of paper I'm going to be using, it's definitely one that I throw in there. So maybe I would grab this and ditch the pink one. All right, last but certainly not least, this is a more recent purchase, again for me, that I absolutely adore. So this goes with my very favorite drawing pencil. You know, I originally purchased it because I found a version of this pencil that didn't have the eraser in the lid. And so, or the eraser, the sharpener in the lid. And so I needed a way to sharpen that tiny lead. So I found this sharpener and it's so great. If you can see, I put it in my travel kit. I have it with me at all times because I would so much rather use this than take the lid off of this. This can be a little bit of a pain to clean. So worth it in my opinion. But if you can have something like this, that's so easy. You just stick it in, give it a twist, and it's done. This thing, if it gets clogged, I can see what's going on. I have with this one had to take a needle and like unclog it, like just like poke it in there to unclog it. Not very often, but I have had to do that. And I just love that it's contained. I do keep it in this little bag that it actually came with in order to keep all of that lead in there. But I usually don't take it out. I just kind of hold it like this and sharpen it like that. There are two widths. I only use the smaller one, but if I were to get a pencil that had, I already have it. So that's really nice. It is a bummer. I kind of wish it had like the smaller one and like a traditional pencil width, but it doesn't, and that's okay. But that has been a recent purchase that I have loved and just adored. And that is my pencil kit. All right, I hope that this video was fun and helpful for you. I'll have all of these supplies linked in my description as well as in my Amazon storefront. On my Amazon storefront, how does that work? They'll be linked there, including I found a pouch that is almost identical to this one, which I thought was really exciting. I might even purchase a backup, but this one is in really good shape still, except a little. And if you have any other ideas for videos that you'd like to see in the future, I'd love to hear about that too. And until next time, happy drawing.